to the 2.5 Citizens podcast. I'm Zen.
And I'm Pablo.
And we're going to get right into it because, to be honest, it's been a week of music. Some stuff's really been out here.
Yeah.
Okay, Polo G put out that Hall of Fame album.
I really liked it.
And then we have the Migos with Culture 3. Okay? And I'm not going to lie, songs have been slapping.
Upset.
Songs have been slapping, and I don't know who's gonna rule the summer. I actually don't know who's gonna actually take over the summer. After Chet Hanks was saying everything, I'm not 100% sure if we're gonna have the white boy summer that we all had been promised.
Oh yeah, isn't Chet Hanks the dude that thinks he can say the N-word?
Does he actually say the N-word? This is, it's he had been doing a lot of this rapping in Jamaican accents, wearing dreads and shit like that.
Yeah.
And then he had said it was going to be a white boy summer a few months ago. And I think he put out a song. I know for sure he put out merch. And then he put out Black Queen Summer merch. So it's like white boy summer, Black Queen Summer. Okay. Both of the pieces of merch. So what he was saying is it's not like a Storm the Capitol type of white boy summer.
Oh, okay,
it's like a Jack Harlow, not me, but him type of, white boy summer. And I can see that. But right now, the summer looks like it belongs to the city boys. Because one thing that is going to be looked at with the magnifying glass, and I've already seen it, is what lyrics is Quavo going to have for Saweetie on this project?
Yeah, man. I think, it's hard because he low-key I don't know if you caught that video of them in the elevator with that whole situation.
Yeah.
But homie came off as a mad woman beater on that.
I ain't even gonna front, though. He really didn't, in my opinion. It really seemed like one of those hood type of relationships where they're like, look, I've actually had conversations where, people will tell me, some wild shit where I hear, wait, they did what? And they'll be like, yeah, no. But, I beat the fuck out of him first. So, I had slapped the fuck out of him, threw bologna at his face, and then threw a high heel at him. So, it's yeah, he pushed me, but it's only because, I was gouging his eye out with the heel. You know what I'm saying? So, sometimes I'm like, oh, I've never been in those types of situations, but, at what point, in that elevator, legitimately.
Oh, I guess if we want equality.
If you want to say, to be honest, she in a higher weight class than Quavo. So, I think on basic physics, she can take him.
But Quavo's also mad athletic.
Yeah, but we saw that with Nate Robinson. Just because you're athletic don't mean you know how to box.
That is true.
So I'm saying she got power punches, bro.
I don't know, bro.
And it was one of those things that wasn't any reason why the relationship ended. She said, yeah, that stuff had came and gone a long time ago. That's some old shit that just resurfaced because of the breakup conversation. Yeah. But that was never they handled that.
Was it on some cheating shit?
She said, yeah, unfaithful shit when he's out in the streets, tour stuff.
Yeah.
That's why I don't know, when you're dating a rapper of that caliber, maybe it's a little different when you're a rapper of that caliber, but when you're a rapper of that caliber, you got to kind of have a hall pass. I think if there's okay, look, I'm going on tour and there's going to be X amount of cities, I may fuck 4 bitches. And just so you're aware, and I'm going to mark them down, I'm going to email you everything that happens, if they can put themselves on that level on this Travis Kylie thing. Because if not, you're just setting yourself up for failure. With these people going out here on these tours, living the same life that they've been used to living prior when they're out on the road or whatever. Mm-hmm. Feeling I'm just with my boys, we out here doing boy shit at the clubs and stuff. I ain't saying that cheating's good by any means. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying I get where these rappers are coming from, dog. You can't be rapping about fucking multiple bitches on multiple songs and don't expect them to be fucking at least one other bitch.
Well, here's the thing though, you could they rap about the streets and shooting their ops and shit, and they don't actually do that.
Let's get into really quickly while you brought me onto this topic. We've been kind of briefly touching over and we can tie this into what happened, the Polo G album that came out.
Yeah.
Chicago is a crazy place when it comes to the streets, when it comes to the violence and all this kind of stuff. Yeah. And one of the biggest people coming out of there right now that have really been just showcasing stuff is Lil Durk.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Pooh Shiesty.
No, Pooh Shiesty just did a song with Lil Durk. Pooh Shiesty is not from Chicago.
Oh, okay, never mind.
So Pooh Shiesty's from Memphis. So, Lil Durk's really been the one holding down for the streets and all this kind of stuff. King Von was one of his artists, and then he got shot. Everyone always says that, like, Durk is, like, cursed. He's really involved in the street stuff when he raps about stuff. A lot of the times it's real. He's really still dissing people that, like, their crews had beef with that have passed in big pop songs. Like, people are still being dissed, people that died and shit like that.
Oh, God.
So people are always like, why still do that when you're at this level and stuff? But I think they have such seated beefs that, like, look, I'm going to keep on doing this shit until the end because of X, Y, and Z disrespect from back in the day. Lil Durk's brother got shot this past week in the head and died outside of a club in Chicago.
Oh, shit.
And so that's, like, his big brother who he's shown, like, he's oftentimes said that that's, like, one of his biggest inspirations and all this kind of stuff. And I guess he's been, like, promoting shows out of Chicago for a while now. And whatever, we don't know the situation or what, like, things still haven't been, you know, really figured out. A lot of times they don't get figured out in the streets like that. But you start seeing that sometimes when they're saying these things in songs, it's not just playing around. They're not just talking about shit. Like, certain things are based on real situations, maybe exacerbated, maybe hyperbolized, but based on real events. And you'll see some real life repercussions. People are real life dying over a lot of the stuff that's happening. That's why I'm saying, like, look, people are rapping about these things in songs, and sometimes they're not capping. So it's like you're talking about fucking all these bitches all the time.
80% it's cap.
All right. So if you want to say 80% is cap, then out of all the bitches they be talking about in songs, you can't be mad if they're fucking 20% of the bitches they be talking about.
If you, well, and I guess that's when you, because if you contrast it to the, I guess, then they just gotta get themselves an arrangement like Travis and.
That's what I'm saying. That's when you hit boss moves. My favorite line. It's not my favorite line ever, but it's like one of the most eye-catching. Because the thing is, I can't even tell you what song it's on. I just remember the line. 2 Chainz once said something about his wife, and then he said something about his girlfriend, and then he said, "My wife hate when I call my girlfriend, she thinks she's special."
Damn.
And when I heard that, I said, 2 Chainz knows how it goes. He's got his stuff on lock.
I like when he said, "She got a big booty, so I call her Big Booty."
That perfect line. You cut the fat, you trim the fat, you know what you need.
That's the wildest thing I'll say today on that.
So that's what I'm saying is, like, ops be getting shot, bitches be getting popped too when it comes to these rappers and when it comes to these tours.
The streets are real, and they don't care about anybody.
They are real, and it's really the more and more I'm real. Like, you know, here's the thing. This type of music is very popular. We're talking about, like, street rap right now. And to be honest, it's way better for, like, the suburban kids who are, like, living in a white neighborhood and are just, like, listening to this to feel edgy. They can pretend they're in there? Yeah. Well, I'm not in the streets, but, like, I'm definitely not in the suburbs anymore.
No, you're not.
Like, I'm in this bitch, and I'm hearing these things, and I'm riding around, and now I'm like, I might gotta be careful now.
Yeah, maybe let's turn this song down.
Well, here's the problem: is my AC's been messing up on the CRV.
Don't tell me you're just driving around listening to Back in Blood.
I definitely will be. I've been having this. Okay, I've been really having this interesting situation. I've been having this interesting situation at night since my schedule's been changing. I've been out in the streets at night, dog.
Which is scary.
And I got my windows lowered because the AC don't work as well. And I'm banging street music. And I'll always seem to pull up to a really nice car.
Yeah.
And we'll kind of look at each other. And if we're on the same page music-wise, we're kind of like, all right. So, like, I pull up to a Lamborghini. I'm like, we're at the light. I pull up to the Lamborghini. I go over there. I turn over there. They're listening to, like, Young Boy or something. I'm over here listening to, like, Lil Baby and Durk or something like that. And they're like, we kind of like, all right, cool. And then, like, we go off. I beat that Lamborghini. I'm just saying. I zoomed on past that bitch.
Sure.
Skirted on. It was
CRV.
I'm just saying, dog. I just skirted through that bitch.
Skirt.
Out of that bitch. And then the next day, same situation happened. There was, like, a Dodge Charger. I've just been out here with the cars, and I've been getting respect on them because I'm out here banging the music of the streets. And if the streets respect you, then everyone respects you, dog. And that's the way it happens out here. That's the way it goes. And that's why That's why we got to stay strapped now. I realized I got called out.
And that's why you're getting a street face tat.
Yeah, I've been thinking about it. We do have to make a correction, by the way.
Yeah.
For maybe 2 episodes out on here, at least me for sure, has been saying that the new gun laws that haven't even got put into effect yet.
Oh, they haven't.
Were for 18 and older. It's cap. It's 21 and older. Like I couldn't think you need to be at least 21.
That makes me feel a little better.
You can buy a rifle at 18, but like in order to buy a handgun or anything, like you got to be 21. So it's like you have to have legally bought the handgun.
Okay.
And then like I keep on saying 18 and it's cap, so I have to correct that shit.
Okay. Yeah, because 18 was mad wild, bro. I was like, what the like we were all gonna die.
Yeah. No, so I was capping. So let's put that out in the air and clarify that. So yeah, now all you over 21 and up got to be out here carrying the blickies. We got to be making sure that we staying okay on the streets, dog. Because right now, you be walking around here mad laxed, and I don't understand it, dog.
Why? Because I'm not strapped?
You're not strapped, so you be out here unmasked and unstrapped. Just like living life in this place where you know...
I wear a seatbelt.
But you know that people are wilding out in the streets again.
It is
and
true.
Not only that, you're going to like knack and stuff, dog.
I was just there yesterday.
You're going to places that still have Trump flags up.
I was there yesterday.
Were there still Trump flags up?
I went so like, I was running a little late because I had a meeting over there. So, and I can't take the Beltway because I don't have an easy tag. So then that would mean I would have to take the feeder all the way down towards Greens Point and then get on. Yeah. So it's free, which that's impossible, bro. Like that. I've done it before.
Why don't you just take
I've done it when you don't when you like when I'm not on a rush, but I was on a rush, so I hopped on 290, and then like went that way.
Just hop on the Beltway, take the easy tags, and there's the you can pay later type shit right now.
Yeah, but I owe them money because of my parents.
God damn it.
A lot of money.
Oh damn.
So like I try not to use it because
wait, was it what car was it on? This is alleged. I asked somebody in a call center.
Yeah.
Because I owed Easy Tag a lot of money, and I said, "Yo, what's the precaution?" Because I've heard like that they can block you from getting your license updated and stuff like that. And then they said pretty much it's attached to the car, and if the car's gone, it's a wrap. Pretty much all they can really do is the car. So like all my shit was on the Kia, and that Kia's gone. So my thoughts is once that car got swiped, so did all those motherfucking Easy Tag things. But I could be capping.
Yeah,
that
sound cap, but maybe.
But the person that I asked, I was working at a call center, and I asked them what they did before, and they were like, "Oh, I worked at the Easy Tag call center," and I was like, "Oh, I got a fucking question." So,
oh, okay,
and that's what they told me.
That might not be cap.
That's what they told me. But yeah, so we'll see.
We'll see.
I'm only telling you that in case you don't have that car anymore.
They're my parents' cars. They're not even my cars, but they're under my name.
Damn, dog. Are they gonna start putting blickies under your name?
I don't know. This is irrelevant. I remember one time they asked me to basically like buy the house from them.
So, and you were like, nah.
Yeah, hell no.
Like I don't want this.
Well, it'd be like no, but like we like live in it and we pay your mortgage, and I was like.
Oh, because then you got to trust that they're going to give you the money for the mortgage. Yeah. And if not, they're like, hey, we can't do the mortgage payment this week. Can you do it? It's under your name, dog. So, I mean, like, you kind of responsible.
Yeah. So, and like, so I was like, nah.
Right now, I'm just hoping, like, my dad already talking about making mini wills and stuff, like, you know, preliminary wills. And you know, I'm really just letting my parents know straight up. And if they're listening, I will have a child, regardless on what I got to do. So anything that you got to send over that you trying to give to grandkids, right here. Mm-hmm. Right here.
Yeah.
Because they're doing work on the house, and every time I'm like, ooh, my house going up in value. Every time they fix in the kitchen, I'm like, ooh, they making my house better and better. I ain't going to have it at first, but best believe once things roll around and all those things come back in style, we gon' be set, dog. So I'm just saying, if Roman ain't trying to have kids, that's cool because I'm gonna take the houses, the dogs. You know what I'm saying?
That's cool, though.
So I'm just saying, I'm waiting.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Anyway, we've derailed so far.
We haven't even been on a real topic, have we?
No, we were supposed to get on the music stuff, and we never talked about it.
But well, we're on like the first part here, so
Yeah.
let's get into a few topics here.
Yeah.
And really dive into some more of like the albums and some things that have been happening this week. So let's get into a few things here. Now that you've been telling me, like, for you it seems like the Polo G album has been the one out of the two. For me, I'm putting up Polo G versus Migos.
Yeah.
And you're going Polo G.
Yeah.
So the way that it feels like, I haven't heard all of them all the way through. I'm not gonna lie, I've been so stuck on that Drake song. That Drake song on the Migos project, wild. Just wild. Like,
Okay. Maybe I'll go back and listen to the lyrics because
can I read you these lyrics?
read me the lyrics.
It's when you're dealing with someone of this magnitude. Okay, so for one, he's really playing on the fact that people like to put Draco, like the gun for Drake. You know, I'm pulling up the Drake. So that's what he's been on. So he goes, load up the Drake. Fuck it, I'm making them pay. It's however people want to take it. So when he's saying load up the Drake, he's like, you can take that line however you want. And the next thing he goes, load up the Drake. What else are they gonna play? It's however people want to take it. Hey, so it's like we can load up the real Drake and make them pay, or we can load up the Drake and make them pay, because either way, it's however y'all want to take it. What else are you gonna play in the club? What else is playing in the club but Drake? Other things are playing, but really, what else is playing but Drake?
That's true. That is true. Very hard line and very true.
And then so he goes, I'm having my way. Set out here having his way, like Offset. Quay out here having his way. And like the third Migo, I take. Bitch. What? And then he goes, so let's see where he goes after he's going through this. Now that I'm thinking it through, I just ain't fell in love because I'm way too awake, he goes. And then she try fucking a rapper to break my heart, but my heart doesn't break. Soon as I link with these people, they feelings are written all over they face. Okay, great. I'm in the back room at Wally's. I spent $30,000 on somebody's grapes. So he's talking about $30,000 on a bottle of wine here. This line, hard. We did so many pull-ups on. Every time I say people, it's the N-word. I'm just letting you know. We did so many pull-ups on people. No wonder we getting in shape. They've been pulling up on so many people, dog, that they're staying in shape, dog. Shredded, abs, wrapped, all right?
Everyone's trying to box now.
Then he goes, too busy backing my words up with actions to ever go front on your face. What? Ain't shit changed? Oh, there we go. Billionaires talk to me different when they see my pay stubs from Lucy and Grange. I don't know what that is. Maybe you could tell me. Lucy and Grange. So when they're talking about billionaires, so I don't know if it was maybe some sort of stock financial thing. I don't know if it was some sort of, because he's talking about they're talking to him differently when they see that pay stub. Things are getting a little wild out here. And then this is my favorite line. He goes, told myself that I would get through this verse and I'm not going to mention the plane. But look at the plane. The fuck are we saying? Like, I'm not going to mention the plane? Like, I was going to tell myself I was going to do this whole verse and not mention the plane. But, dog, come on.
I got a plane.
Look at the fucking plane, dog.
I pollute.
You seen the plane?
I pollute.
So, there's more. And, Big 81, but I don't own a Harley. I ride a Mercedes with Shane. But he just be going off. Mind you, this is a fucking Drake song. Like, we still have not gone to where Migos are on this song at all.
I don't think they are.
They are.
Like at the end?
Yeah, after afterwards, they finally come in.
I think it's like Quavo.
All of them, all three.
Well, I think it's hard for them to have features because, like, it's three of them already.
Yeah, but they still have, they have a Justin Bieber feature, like you said.
No, I know, they have a Cardi B. The Polo G's on it.
Pop Smoke.
Pop Smoke. The Pop Smoke song's really good, too.
No, what I will say is,
the Cardi song was not hard. I was expecting it to be harder.
Nah,
it wasn't hard.
The one, I'm not going to lie, DJ Khaled got a better verse off Cardi.
Probably.
And what I will say is that the Need It song, which is actually one of the first singles, it has been out for a long, long, long time. It had like a 50 Cent type of sample in there, like and that song with NBA YoungBoy was what they needed to pop off the jump, because I did not really care about Migos songs anymore.
Yeah,
when that NBA YoungBoy song, when Need It came out, it's like NBA YoungBoy took out like what they like brought it out of them, because they were really going in and they were like, we can't, like, I think they were having this thing like, we can't let this little kid just kind of walk all over us on this shit. So we really got to come out, because like NBA YoungBoy was just fucking going off, as he does. Really quickly about NBA YoungBoy, he's still in jail. He's dealing with all this stuff for that Fed trial, and allegedly the case name that the FBI are using for this is Never Free Again. Kind of like his Never Broke Again.
Yeah.
So they playing with him, dog.
Yeah. Wait, I don't know anything about his case. What is he?
A bunch of guns were found on them, because they were shooting a music video. They tied 2 of them to YoungBoy, and he has a felony, so he can't have guns. Period. There's a possibility things were going over state lines and stuff. So it's a big case. You know what I'm saying? It's a whole gun possessions case. So it's that whole thing.
Yeah.
But
they played him. They should have had props for the video. It's a video, bro.
They don't do that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm saying, you think they're saying these things, but they don't really do it. Sometimes they're dumb enough to really just be doing this shit, dog. And
then you deserve it, bro. I'm sorry. Like Hollywood, like.
Well, 6ix9ine didn't even really start doing dumb shit until he got famous.
Yeah.
So it's like sometimes it's like what we were talking about last week with the subgenres and the subcultures. If you get yourself in a subculture, if you even think about the Señor de los Cielos, and then you finally get put face to face with the brick of some product, and they tell you to move it, you might be like, hey, I've seen the movies. You know what I mean? If you listen to enough of the music and you're really getting involved with certain types of people, a task might get put in your face, and X, Y, and Z might be offered, and you might be like, hey, brr, brr. You know what I'm saying? Big brr. So that's why I'm saying, like, some people don't realize the long-term, like, effects of their actions.
Yeah, no, 100%.
There's certain people that, like, you tell them something and you try to give them advice for the future.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you sit down with them and, like, have lunch and basically just be like, yo, I think X, Y, and Z about your future. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes they take it the completely other way. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, you just don't know. You just don't know out in these streets, like, what might happen whenever, you're like, opportunities get put in your face.
Dog,
like
these streets don't care about you and your feelings.
Exactly. Sometimes you're like, bro, you out here not, like, you ain't focusing on the long term. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. There's just certain things that I think that we need to look at as a society about this kind of stuff.
No, for sure.
Because I wonder, I actually have the internal struggle about, like, there is all this shit, like, we want to pick and choose what's actually going to affect us. So if a girl like Megan Thee Stallion is out there, like, dancing and, like, showing off her body how she wants, that might be bad for the kids. But, like, they say the video games aren't bad for the kids. That's not what's going to make people want to do school shootings, even though, I mean, it seems like since more violent video games have come out, like, more school shootings have come out.
Yeah.
But we don't want to affect the gaming industry because so many people support it. So if we attack the gaming industry, then we're being bad. So it's really the industries, right? But not the actual thing. Same thing with rap music, because it's tied to, like, minorities, because it's struggle music. So if you're against rap music, then you're basically against, like, the whole group of people that are making it. All the minorities that struggle, you're belittling it. But can we also say that, like, there is a lot of kids, like, Juice WRLD had told Future, like, you're the reason I started doing drugs. Not like in a you made me do drugs, but kind of like I was listening to music and that shit inspired me. It seemed cool, and it's where I started going down that route. And you see what happened to Juice WRLD. Juice WRLD is just someone that was famous enough for us to know that it happened.
Yeah.
So imagine so many kids that were in that same situation, maybe overdosed and died, but they didn't get to be a famous rapper.
Because they were like Molly Percocet.
Exactly. But they didn't get to be a famous rapper and talk about it and bring light to it.
Yeah. No,
They just
got addicted to heroin
and died, and then no one knew because no one knew who they were. So sometimes it's like, or how many kids have gotten into street shit just listening to like Chief Keef and shit from back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, I wonder where the line is of like.
Well, you gotta, because I think about myself. I listen to street music. I've played video games. I've like watched scary movies sometimes. But I don't go out and do this shit.
But what happens when you become like? There's something about enjoying it as a casual, or when do you become like
a diehard,
and then want to be like. So like you can with anything that you want to do, right? Like let's just say you really like playing soccer, and you're like, yeah, I'll go play soccer with my friends sometimes, but I'm not getting up every day and going to practice and getting together and really trying to get good all the time and starting to try to get in tournaments. Like there's a step you start taking, but there's a step you start taking when you want to actually start committing, right?
Yeah.
It's one thing to be like, yeah, I like this stuff and this and that. But what happens when you start really getting into videos and you really start like diving into the life and you start realizing that the rappers that you like, the things that they really did, and you being like, if I want to be cool like this rapper, do I have to do X, Y, and Z? They went to jail 3 times before they came out and became a famous rapper. 1 time for robbery, 1 time for a gun charge, 1 time for a weed charge. My favorite rappers are doing this shit, and look how they're living. Look at all the bitches they got. Like these young kids. I hear kids my age sometimes say wild shit like that, where I'm like, you're really like looking at them and being like, but look at their car though. I'm like, that's not like there's other ways to get that car.
Yo, or like it makes me think of like when people are also like, well, like, like Mark Zuckerberg dropped out of college.
Exactly.
And I'm like, bro, he dropped out of Harvard and he had Facebook. You dropping out of community college is not the same thing.
Exactly. You dropping out of community college with no plan.
It's not the same thing.
It's not. It's a tough one right now with like the way people see people on social media. They see people living their lives. They read the stories and they feel like, okay, those are the path. That's the path, or those are the steps that I have to take, or if I want to be successful in.
Well, they also
X, Y, and
forget
Z.
that they also have a talent of rapping.
One thing I think people are, and this has been like a thing I forgot. It's been in a book or something.
Because if you just want to do drugs because you think it's cool, but you have no rap talent, then you just became a drug addict for no reason.
Yeah. Yeah, if you don't know how to tell stories, if you don't know how to like put your words into put your like feelings into words. Another thing in general of it is like people have their own path depending on their skill sets, right? So like you said, they were rapping. Like a lot of times people don't realize like just because that's what you want to do doesn't mean that like that's what you're good at.
Yeah.
Like you could want it so bad, but that doesn't mean that you're gonna like be able to like
I wanted to be a pro skater, but I was trash, bro. Like.
So one thing that I think people don't realize is like
you gotta be self-aware.
You have to be self-aware and truly try to pick the thing that you're like good at naturally.
Yeah.
And then be like, how do I form this? Like this is a natural talent I have, right? Like we all have natural gifts and natural like differences about us. So then you go like, I have this natural thing. How do I work it out? How do I form it? How do I mold it?
And I think people try to turn. Sometimes people can confuse hobbies that they just like casually into, I can turn this into a career because right now I'm really into it. I know I have that problem sometimes where, not that I try to turn things into careers, but like I'll go through phases where I'll get really into like this and this and this and this.
Yeah.
And then, but at the end of the day, I'm like, nah, but I couldn't do this for a living, Or like, no, I couldn't do that because I'm like, I only like it casually.
Yeah. And that's where I think you have to find it's hard because sometimes I really think people have separated like a balance in their lives. Like I keep on talking to people and it upsets me a little bit how many times I try to talk about like my thought process for how I want to do work, how I want to like do this, where I want to be and stuff. Mm-hmm. And when I talk to people, their whole thing is like, no one likes where they work. Like their whole thing is like, I get you don't always like what you're doing. Like there's bad days, but I don't think you should truly hate what you do every day.
Oh no, I don't think that.
You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think like I feel like I hear that from a sentiment for a lot of people that my think is like once you have to find the passion, right? You have to find the motivator.
Yeah.
If the motivator is simply money only, if it's just money and you don't care how you're doing it or what you're doing, it's just the money, like I don't see where you never truly get the fulfillment because it's just like
Yeah,
you're never gonna fill that cup.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, you and I've had this conversation with like friends and stuff because it's like, okay, because then you start thinking like, I'll be happy when I make 100K. Then you make 100K. Well, I'm still not happy, so 200K.
Exactly, and for some people,
I'm still not happy. Well, maybe $500,000. I got my $500,000. Still not happy. I got my first milli. Well, 2 milli, 3 milli. You know what I'm saying?
and then that's when you start not to pull it back, but then that's when you start having to go into the children currency because at what point, what does the money mean? But I say that to say that when it becomes the money, you really do get things like that. Where is it next? What's the next? Like Bezos. I don't know where the fuck. Like I don't. At least with Elon, I can see like a goal. With Bezos, it doesn't really seem like there's a goal. It's really just like where can the number go? Mm-hmm. You know, because like everything
it just
that
sounds
he's doing.
fake.
So it's just like that's where that is because at that point, like if it's good because if it wasn't for that, then you wouldn't get people doing things like Amazon that can be so insane without the motivator.
What I like to tell people is that everyone has like a base like why. Like when I think about and this isn't even what we had as topics, but I like that we're
be happening.
Yeah. When I think about my journey, when I first went into college, I thought I knew what I wanted to do, but I knew that the base, the foundation behind it was that I wanted to help people.
Yeah.
And because people like will go into school and they'll be like, well, I want to go in business because I want to be like a business owner. And it's like, okay, well, what does that mean? Or like, I want to help people. Or like, people have these like things that fulfill them, but what does it really mean? Because like, I mean, I could stand at Chipotle and hold the door open for someone and that's me helping. But that's not really a career. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so, it's a weird thing because there's a lot of those things where like, I saw a tweet and it really made me think of you. When I read this tweet, I was like, it said, just because you want to help people, don't think that getting a degree or working for a nonprofit is going to be the best thing.
Yeah.
You can get screwed over by somewhere else that'll actually pay you better. Like
no, and like so yeah, pretty much. Not to say that the nonprofit ever treated me bad. They didn't.
But talking about monetarily.
Yeah, and that's not their fault. They just were a nonprofit.
Yeah.
That's just the reality of it. But yeah, so when I was in school, I was like, okay, I want to be a lawyer. I interned for like the county attorney in Nacogdoches. Like I sat in trials and I was like, this sucks. This is boring. Like I don't want to do this. So then I had like a little crisis. I was like, oh no, what do I do? Like, yeah. So then I was like, well, I still know that I want to help people. And then I was like, well, we all know that like the criminal justice system is like broken and like, it picks on certain communities. Like I would love to go in there and try to fix it. And then I was about to finish and get my degree in that when I realized I actually couldn't work in the field because I'm not a citizen.
How long did that take you
to realize?
Yeah.
This is why you got to be self-aware, bro. You got to be like, can I actually do this?
You be forgetting about sometimes, dog. You be getting in a Caucasian mindset.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I think you might have like a multiple personality disorder when you're doing things. So I think when you're filling out apps, like when you're filling things out, you're like
brown.
You're like because you even put it on the thing, like you get into white mode. You know what I mean? Yeah. So you're like, I'm white, okay. Pablo. You know what I mean? Like you're just out here trying to like. Vasquez. You're just really putting everything to make sure that you're in that mindset. And then halfway through, you're like, fuck, they asked, are you legally allowed to work in the state? And I forgot.
I mean, I am legally allowed to work in the States, but they needed citizens. But anyway, so then I was like, well, damn, I'm basically done with this major. Like, I can't just switch anymore. So I was like, let me just finish. And and then I like started researching and I was like, okay, what else can I do with this? Because I'm like,
yeah, like
it's a wrap, bro. Like, do I have to go back to school? Like, that's crazy.
Wild, man.
And then I saw that it was like, oh, you could be like a social worker. So then that's how I got into like the clinic, and it was cool. I liked helping people, but I also realized like, man, like I could never have a family.
Doing that?
Yeah. Or like if I did, I'd be broke.
Oh yeah, like it just wouldn't be. It's like you end up being like that's like where the nice guys finish last thing. Like you end up just struggling to pay like everything while you're trying to like.
And I came to a second realization. I was like, okay, a lot of these people's problems, like, yes, like we're helping them, like putting them on these like government programs, but then they get comfortable and then they don't want to get off, and then this is the only thing that like supports them, and then it just felt like we were like putting band-aids on problems, and eventually the problem got even worse because of it. And because then you get people that don't want to do for themselves anymore because they like get comfortable. And then
so you're really not helping people get out. You're just
so then, and I was already super like into like personal finance. Then that's when I was like, okay, how can I get the knowledge that I basically gave myself?
Yeah.
How do I get it out to other people? And then that's kind of how I got into what I'm doing now.
That's why I think it's cool. Like, we're actually able to find the things. Like, I think our parents, like, you know, we're going through those tiers, but like they didn't necessarily get the choice to like, this is what I want to do. It's like, what can I do to survive now? Because like the other options, like, not that cool.
Yeah.
So it's like, and they didn't go to college or anything, and they're like, how do we figure this out? Like, I don't legitimately think that either of my parents, and like you've seen like their jobs and stuff, told themselves when they were younger that specifically is what they wanted to do when they were older. But like, it's where they figured out, like, they naturally figured out, hey, I'm good in this field. Like, my natural skills work for this. They're like, oh, my natural skills work for this, and they figured it out. And that's where like now we're able to take what they brought and been like, okay, now how do we do it? And I know they're trying. It's hard because I know like our parents, they did all the sacrifices, and now they're like, all right, we had the sacrifices, so we got some say. Yeah. But like, it's a tough one.
Yo, I feel that though, because you're like second generation Hispanic.
Yeah.
Or I think third, second.
Well, no. So my parents were not born in Mexico. My grandma was.
Okay. Yes. So that makes you third then.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm still first. So I feel like
still wet, dog.
Yeah, so I feel like I'm gonna be like, nah, man, you can't just go out there and get some bullshit major, bro.
Yeah, because it's kind of like, I mean, mind you, it's like, a little more separated for them, but you're like,
I don't want to be that guy, but bro, I'm not letting my kids get a fucking art degree.
So it's hard because like you have to try to find the balance because the world changes too. Because it's like, because you also might be like, no, you need to do this and this and that, and be like, Dad, like, why the fuck would I go into finance when everything's digital now, and like we have X, Y, and Z programs and stuff where you just like do this and everything, like whatever the future might be, where like things might be obsolete for what like pretty much what you start noticing is like what probably took you 2 or 3 years to understand and fully learn will eventually be like step 1 for like the next generation. So they'll be like, all right, off rip, they'll already have like those 2-3 years that you had to like. I think about it for producing, like so many technology, like all the technologies and plug-in stuff. Yeah. Producers back then were like, yo, if I had this type of shit back then, it would be wild. Like I needed X, Y, and Z to fucking make that sound now. And now you guys are just able to load it. So it's like things are going to change, and it's hard to be like, because we still think in our heads of like, well, the way things used to be, and you never know if things happen to go back. We need to, but sometimes like they're not going to fucking go back. We need to evolve and move forward.
No, 100%. But I'm saying like there is like you got to be realistic at the same time. Like follow your dreams, but also like be smart.
No, I feel you.
Because we keep going back to the student debt thing, and like I feel bad for people. I really do. And it's very predatory, but also like, homie, you got yourself into this, and these politicians, I'm sorry, they're just saying stuff to like get themselves elected. They're not gonna save you. You gotta save you.
It is wild. I mean, maybe one day, but
no, I don't think it's ever gonna happen.
You don't think so?
No, and think about it. Why, if they forgive the debt, that doesn't fix the problem because there's still new loans being made every day.
But here was the thing is, I think the only way they could do it, they would have to change the legislation first.
They would have to outlaw those loans and then forgive.
So that'd probably be the only way. You'd have to make some sort of thing, like they'd have to change the way that they even get qualified, like where you can't even get rid of those. Like you can't go bankrupt, you can't file for bankruptcy and get rid of those. Like,
and again, I'm not saying like I don't want to sound insensitive, but also like that's not fair for the people that did pay for their stuff.
I've thought about that because I'm like, what about, do those people have to have a reimbursement? Do you have to?
Or the people that didn't even go to school, they went to trade school, they've been paying taxes, and they're like, yo, why does my taxes have to bail you out for you because you wanted to be an artist and went to a state college?
It's going to be a hard one. There's going to be a lot of people that I think, but it is one of these things that I feel like for the most part on citizen perspectives, like most people don't agree with the way student loans are though.
Oh, no, 100%. Like, again, do not get me wrong. Like, they are predatory. Avoid student loans at all costs. But I'm saying, like,
from the perspective of like,
from someone who's seen it firsthand, it's doable.
A tricky one, yeah.
But it's doable though. Like, bro, if I was able to do it with my situation, like,
yeah,
someone with papers someone who's a citizen should be able to like do it. Like, it's not that hard
for sure. But it's about drive. You don't have the drive if you're not in that type of situation.
Yeah, but
you feel me? Like,
I feel you.
It's really 100%, that. It's
100%.
Like, I think about the fact, like, I worry, like, I don't know if Roman and I will do what my parents did without a degree, without that drive.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Without those types of obstacles that make you kind of have to like push further and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So it's like,
because if you're too comfortable, it's
exactly, then you just get stuck there.
Yeah.
But let's we got really into this. We even had a little more time than we needed on this segment, but let's get into some other topics here for the week. Take us into this whole thing.
Okay.
So one of these topics that we got here, your home country wildin', dog.
Our home country,
bro. But it's like I'm telling you.
No, I'm just kidding. We just established your third generation. It's
my
fine.
third generation, and I strictly identify mainly as Texan.
Okay.
So
what's your pronoun?
Yeehaw.
Okay.
So, but go on and tell me what's going on in your country, dog.
First of all, I was there as a kid, bro. Like, everything I know is from the U.S.
I'm just saying, dog.
But yes, I'll go into it. So basically, the Mexican president, AMLO, Andrés Manuel Lopez Obrador, AMLO for short, is, and I've been hearing about this a lot with my family, because, you know, they be talking mad spicy on, during
talking about their country, yeah.
Yeah. So, and with like my future in-laws. So basically,
is that y'all be having Mexican political debates?
I'm trying to understand how the politics work in Mexico, because they don't have like
elections and shit.
No, they do, but like they don't have like liberals and like conservatives. Like, it's different over there. It's
like cartels or non-cartels.
No, it's not even like that either. It's like, I don't know. It's weird. That's why I'm trying to like understand it. But basically, AMLO is like the Mexican Bernie Sanders, if you will.
Okay.
Where he went in being like, I'm this third party, because they basically, like, their Democrat and Republicans are called the PRI and PAN. So those are like the two big parties.
That sounds like something you buy at like from Bimbo at like the Mexican store.
Yeah. Look, man.
Don't it though? I mean, with some cafecito.
Okay, bro.
Get you some de PRI and PAN with cafecito.
Look, man. Republicans got an elephant and Democrats got a donkey. Like,
all right. I mean, sure, I guess.
Like, none of this stuff is cool. That's what I'm trying to say. Anyway, so he was like this third party, and he was like, yeah, like, you know, I'm for the people. I'm trying to like be against corruption, blah, 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 blah. All this stuff that sounds good on paper.
Yeah.
Basically, like, I'm going to take money from the rich, give it to the poor type stuff, which again, sounds good on paper. And then when he got into office, it has been executed really poorly. You know, where
as it would.
Yeah, it's typical. I'm not saying that like corruption should be allowed. I'm not saying don't tax the rich. What I'm saying is not what sometimes you think it's gonna be, because you got to understand that these politicians still have alignments to these big people. So like,
people also, I feel like people don't realize like because it took me a while to realize why certain things like that are necessary.
Yeah,
like
no, for sure.
Like, okay, sure, it makes sense that we want all the little people to like be able to like have the best things, but But the problem is like
Yeah.
I didn't understand. I was like, why the fuck are they letting big companies? Like, why are they letting?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to understand it. And then I'm like, I started understanding the word like incentivize when you talk about it in like the political way. And you're like, wait, why would people be incentivized? Like, if we're all saying big business are bad, like, why are we incentivizing it? I'm like, well, duh. Think about like, I've worked for big business. How many people are here? So how many people are how many people are we doing X, Y, and Z for? If something happens to that company, you're talking about anytime like something big happens to AT&T and there's like multiple layoffs, I'm looking on the news and you're like, wait, how many people got laid off?
Yeah.
You realize like that's a big thing. That's a big thing affecting a large group of people in our country. So you're like, fuck, no, like that does need to be incentivized.
And I don't think you got to be like, bowing down to the companies either. But at the same time, it's like, it's a weird dynamic, to say the least. But anyway, so yeah, that hasn't been working out. And supposedly he's been causing a lot of change. And he put this bill forward. Now it hasn't passed, and most people say that it's probably not going to pass because over there you can't get reelected. So a president serves 6 years, and that's it. You're done.
It's a wrap.
It's a wrap for you. He's trying to reelect himself.
So how is he trying to do that?
Like by changing the Constitution and taking that out, to where now presidents can reelect themselves.
Okay.
And then,
or the people can reelect him, or what does he mean?
Yeah, like the people can like basically run for a second term.
Do the people want him to run for a second time?
Yes and no. Well, I don't know, man. It's rough because again, I'm not there.
You're not out in the streets.
I'm just hearing rumors from both sides, so it's hard to tell what's real and what's not.
Yeah, like what they're trying to tell you, like no, like kind of like Kim Jong-un will be like, they love me, but like no, they don't.
But no, they don't. Yeah. So then it's like, then I start thinking, I'm like, man, could Mexico have a Venezuela type situation?
So what happened in Venezuela?
So basically, socialism and then turn into communism and,
Oh, and then after that.
Yeah.
What do we get from there? Do we get coffee?
Yeah. But then I think about kind of what you were saying, and I think about like, why do people fall for socialism at first? And I was trying to really dissect it, and I was thinking like, okay, if you looking at it from you've always been in the bottom and you've never really had anything, you care, like how we were saying last episode, like you care about people because you can't care about money, you don't have it. So you care about people, and then when you have that heart for people and you hear this politician say, hey, I know what it's like to be you and I'm about to help you, it makes sense.
I mean, it's the same thing like Andrew Yang managed to bring himself up to prominence. He not only just from like being just kind of generally smart, not being like an old white guy, but also just being like, yo, we'll give you $1,000. And then explaining like, I think that this is the way that this is going to go.
Bad.
Huh?
It'd be so bad if he gave us all $1,000 a month.
I don't know what it would. I don't really know how it would work. His whole thing was he's trying to even out what was going to happen, which is autonomy, and how that's going to take over like the trucking industry, and how that's going to make a lot of these people like be in a situation where they don't have that job anymore and they don't have a skill to get another job. Mm-hmm. So his thing was like, if we give them $1,000, that's not enough to live off of.
Yeah,
that's enough for them to feel not as stressed and can like help them wiggle around to go to like a different trade school and figure out a different hobby or something that they can get a different career from there. So that was like the idea of the freedom dividend. You know what I mean? Which does make more sense when you're like, okay, look, he's saying, look, no one else is foreseeing, because he was really big into the tech stuff. Yeah, it's like no one else is taking an account for and foreseeing this. Yeah. The world where
the fact that we're all going to get our packages from little drones.
Yeah. So it's like, how do we change that? You know what I mean? Well, if we give people $1,000 a month to make them feel less stressed and be able to feel more open to try other things. And again,
okay, that sounds good on paper, but you can't control what people do. So you give people $1,000 a month and they're going to the steakhouse. They're going to Foot Locker.
That's fine.
They're going to Cancun.
That's still getting the economy booming for the most part because people are spending. Even if you're just giving it to them and they're spending, that's what people want. They don't want you to just hold it. No, it's probably worse for what most people now are probably trying to do. Anyone that I hear like gets a big thing and throws it into crypto or some shit.
Yeah, well, but like all that to say is, anyway, And then that's where I'm thinking, where I'm like, okay, so that's why people fall for this. But then I also start thinking like, man, like you can just make it, bro. Like, I'm not saying people don't have messed up situations. I'm not saying it's not hard out in the streets. It is. But I think if you really dedicate yourself to it, like, you can get out of your situation. And no politician is going to, no tax, no politician, no whatever other thing you say is bringing you down is actually going to stop you. Like, I'm not saying systematic racism isn't true. I'm not saying, like, poverty, drug addiction, blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm not saying those things aren't factors in. But I think, like, sometimes we don't think how strong the human will really is.
Yeah. I know that we do have that. And like I said, you brought up those good points. There are situations like, I know people who are like legitimately just trying to do their thing.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh, there's this felony on their record because of a situation that like the system has kind of put them into.
Sure.
And because of that, like they're having trouble getting into a better place. It's like they're cool, but like they want to be here, but they can't be there because of like things that like they're trying, but it's like what else? Because like they're actually trying to talk to like what else can I do?
Yeah.
You know, it's not even like you're talking about things that aren't even like violent acts, things like that. You know what I'm saying?
You had a little bit of weed on you when you were 16.
Exactly, and now your whole like
life is fucked. Yeah.
But then you see like white kids selling weed now, and so certain situations is like we do have human will, and like we can push over a lot of those things. But sometimes it does suck when you're like going, and you're like, fuck, man, like there's another thing here.
Yeah.
And you're seeing like people with maybe more privilege off to the side of you just being able to run past that obstacle.
Yeah. And I think for that, I think of like, we just got to use that to fuel us more.
I think also when we try to do it, but
because it's like,
we need to build our communities up.
Oh, no,
to really
100%. No, I'm not, 100%.
And I think the Hispanic community doesn't do a good job.
The Hispanic community has so much potential, and we waste it, and it pisses me off because, like, dude, we are so hardworking, but yet when one of us passes, we all have GoFundMes because no one, like, was financially prepared for it.
Yeah. That's the problem. There is no.
How the hell do you increase the community and build it if no one is financially prepared for the next step? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because you hold back the second generation because you didn't prepare, and then they get held back because you taught them to not prepare, and it's just a cycle.
Exactly. That's why I think it's and then here's the problem. Like you start seeing people who start becoming a little more open-minded, right? Mm-hmm. Like my parents have like kind of broken out of that mold, but then everyone else is gonna be like, "You switched up. You ain't even Mexican anymore." You
they're gonna hit you with
yourself.
some like weird stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and like, so you're like, okay, so I'm not allowed to progress
for not being like poor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you know, it's wild because it's like, what are you supposed to do? How are you supposed to build generational wealth if you're being judged by your own community, and how you're supposed to help the community when also on the low, like Hispanics are very proud and won't take like help unless they're in a real
I was actually talking to my dad about this, who lives in Mexico, and he was like, you know, like you're gonna run into people, and then he was like, no le puedes quitar lo pendejo a la gente. But he was like, but when you do get that person that you can't help, like, you know, like it makes it worth it. But I think it just boils down to individuals, man. Like, I think, like, everyone has to unlock the potential they all have inside. Because I do believe that everyone, like, all of us, like, I'm not that special, you know? Like, that's why when I think about, like, student loans and student debt, like, if I was able to do it, who didn't have the best grades in high school, I didn't have the.
It wasn't like that was your goal from the beginning.
Yeah.
You didn't even realize you really wanted to do that until like kind of close to the end.
Yeah, legit. So like that's where I'm saying, where I'm like, if I was able to do it, bro, like people can do this. Like it's doable.
But you really have to want to do it.
Yeah, you gotta want it. Because if you don't want it, you could say all the things that you want, but at the end of the day, like your situation ain't gonna change.
It's like you kind of had to like the same thing with the GoFundMe thing you were talking about. Like, I think that made my parents switch up when like. They had like a death in their family and they realized like, yo, this shit like, this shit isn't, we don't just got this here for that kind of shit. And you're like, damn, if anything happens like that, mind you, I will say, knock on wood for me, like they told me, they were like, yo, my mom said after seeing that situation, it's like, y'all ain't gonna deal with that because we got all of our shit put in place for us. Like we straight when things go, but they realize like that's what that happens.
You can't even grieve
because you're stressing.
Because you're stressing and you're fucking like trying to put together the money for this thing.
Yeah. And it's a weird situation, like where you see like when that gets thrown into the whole mix, you're right. That changes the whole process. Your emotions have to like can't even be dedicated in that place.
Yeah.
Your mind's everywhere else. And then that's when you don't end up really being able to process it until like way later once everything's compiled up and it can break you and stuff like that.
Right.
Those situations happen a lot. You see it. And I do see all the time. Anytime something's happening, it's a GoFundMe. It sucks. Like anytime I'm seeing like multiple people being like, look, we need to do a GoFundMe for this person to get their DACA redone and shit like that. It's like everyone's in such a place that they can't really like I don't understand where the whole thing is like America's the land of opportunity, but then I don't see like it sometimes feels like they're worse off here.
No, it's still the land of opportunity. Like I think I fell into that mindset too, where I was like, man, it's just harder out here. Like, what the hell? Like, you might as well just go back. But it's not, bro, because, like, over there, you could bust your butt and still be in the same ass situation.
Because someone else might just, like...
Because there's, like, legit corruption. Like, you can't win unless you, like...
are on their team.
Yeah. So, over here, where, yes, there's corruption, yes, there's this, yes, there's that, but you could still make it if you, like... try hard enough, you know. Over here, it's effort over anything. But what I think is like,
people. This is what I wonder, and if it's
I got my capitalist hat on. That's what.
And that's cool, but I'm wondering like there's so many people trying to come over here, right?
Sure.
And my thing is like, why do people come over here and then not do anything, right? They took the leap, right? They took the leap. Like I need to get over there. They come, and then they're here, and then I think there's a comfortability about America. The thing is like. They lit a fire under your ass in that country to get the fuck out of there. You're like, I need to be out of here. Like, I can't be in this place.
Yes. So you get here, and then you like can start affording things, and you start, you know, like, and then you get cool, and then you don't
do anything else, and you chill in a little house that's in a really bad area, but it's better than the bad area you were in Mexico.
Yeah, and then no one told you how to actually buy a house, so you sometimes got a house you couldn't afford because of the property taxes, and then the bank takes your house, and then you know it's like that, like bro, like you get here and it's because you don't know how to navigate these things, which I don't think it's just a Hispanic community. I think it's any community that if you don't know how this shit works, you're gonna fall into like, because I think about like just like low income people, regardless of race, in general, they all follow the same patterns, if you will.
Yeah, it's the pattern of like when I got it, it's gone, and when I don't have it, you know what I mean? But it's like that whole process where it's like the comfortability and okay, let's do this. Okay, no, we're not comfortable, and then okay, let's and it's not like a structure.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I find myself in those situations and stuff like that. And I don't know how you break the cycle.
How do you get out of a poverty mindset?
Yeah, how do you get
vision?
Is it just like perspective?
I think it's perspective, and I think it's vision. I think you got to be able to, and it's hard when you're in the streets and when you're in the gutter and when you don't have shit. It's hard to think about 5 years from now.
Yeah, because you're still trying to figure out like what's tomorrow going to be like.
Yeah, what's tomorrow going to be like? Are we going to have electricity? What am I going to eat? Blah, 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 blah. So you don't have your basic needs met. So thinking 5 years from now is nearly impossible. But I think once you get to the place where you have those basic needs, you can be like, okay, what does 5 years from now look like? What do I want to be doing? Okay, what is 10 years, 20 years, 30 years? What does that look like? And, just casting vision. And I think, like, having something to look forward to.
And I think you're right with that, because I think sometimes we get really clouded and caught up in like right now I have nothing. How do I make myself have something tomorrow? Yeah. And it doesn't really happen like that.
Right.
So you really do have to cast those further visions out, and then be like, all right, so now that I know what I want 5 years to look like, how do I backtrack and make that happen now?
And then I think also about like the mentality that I had where it's like, oh, I can't afford that. I can't afford that. I can't afford that. I never asked myself, how do I afford that?
Yeah.
Like, for real, how do I afford it without putting myself in debt?
Exactly. Like, what steps do I have to take if I really want that?
Yeah.
You're right. It's but and then I wonder, like, you have to, I think another part of it is finding the motivation, right?
Oh, 100, yeah.
So for some people, and this doesn't work for everybody, but for some people, a child becomes a motivation.
Yeah.
It stops becoming about them, and they're like, I was comfortable, but it's not about me being comfortable anymore.
Mm-hmm.
How do I make sure that this kid survives?
Yeah.
And so you're like, I got to do X, Y, and Z,
Right.
and I got to do this and that, and then okay, this is and then you find your way. You know what I mean? Sometimes I think that there's gives and takes. You might, give more to your career to feel like you want to provide for them, give less to the kid in their actual like life, and you have to find those balances.
Oh no,
and stuff.
no, and that's because at the end of the day, what does it matter if you gave your kid everything if they don't know who you are?
Yeah.
So there is that. I don't ever want. I think we also get into this mentality that it has to be one or the other, and we never ask ourselves, can it be both and?
Can we have a balance?
Not even a balance, but can we have like a healthy relationship with it all? Where you're not juggling it, but you can like intertwine yourself with everything.
Yeah, I get that is the. I mean, I don't want to. I don't know if I need to be bringing out Drake references.
Oh, do it
in order to really. But in that song in Lemon Pepper Freestyle, he goes. I can't remember the exact lines, but he goes. He says, "Dropping off my kid in the morning, something. Lunchtime, daddy probably made another M. The day's over and I'm about there to get him again." So he's like, look, I done dropped my kid off at school, probably made another million, came back, picked his ass up from school. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm on this shit. He brought him out to the Billboard Music Awards when he did the Artist of the Decade thing. So it's like, he balancing it. He out here making money. Dad. And he being a dad.
I ain't a piece of shit.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he can have it all and.
Yeah, both and.
Both and.
Yeah, bro. That's I think man, I don't want to say winner, but like that's like successful mentality.
Yeah. Like of I'm going to balance this. I'm not going to let it overwhelm me. I'm going to figure out like,
and understanding that like, yes, humans are unique, but when it comes to abilities, we're not special. Like if you can do it, I can do it.
Yeah, like it's about working towards it. Like,
yeah, this shit ain't easy.
Yeah, no, with anything like just anything that you want to do, if you start practicing at it, then you can get good at it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I really, straight up, I thought I was going to have to go back to school to get a finance degree. And then I realized, I can just teach myself this.
Yeah.
And then they will take me, even because I have a degree anyway, they'll still give me a shot. Yeah. I ain't going back to school unless someone's paying for it.
Right. Sometimes you can, like you said, pick something up and go for it. You might think you got to do X, Y, and Z. Some people may say that you need to be boxing for like your entire life, devoting and dedicating your entire life.
I see where you're going with
to
this.
boxing. To like, be great and successful, but some people may be able to just pick up boxing after 3 years, fight maybe the greatest boxer of our generation, and go the distance 8 rounds.
Yeah.
With the likes of Floyd Money Mayweather.
He took an L with that, bro.
So, you know what I'm saying? Like sometimes
I know there's no winner or loser, but the fact that you're this, again, boxer of the generation and you didn't knock this kid out first round, that's an L for you.
See what I'm saying? Like, I saw the fight, and here's like, look, man, it was perfect.
And I know he walked out with 100 milli, and what I'm saying, he could care less, but yeah.
Yeah. As far as legacy, he still's got his legacy plays and stuff, but
there's an asterisk now.
Yeah, there is, and that's what Logan was saying the whole time. He literally was saying it, and so let's kind of go. So Logan Paul and Floyd Mayweather fought. It was 8 rounds. I forgot how many minute rounds. It was an exhibition. 8 minute rounds. 10-ounce gloves. It was an exhibition, no winner or loser, but knockouts were allowed. Um, 50-0 boxer, and I think professionally, Logan's 0-1. As like a professional boxer, this is his second opponent. He's only had 2 fights before, both with KSI. So this is a second opponent in boxing, period. And it's a really high-profile fight, a lot of money, and Logan looked good in the ring. I'm not gonna lie. I know it was a lot of like, it is Floyd Mayweather. He is always not where he's supposed to be and stuff like that. But he like looked good, and he was really holding Floyd down a lot, which is like, you can't really be. I keep on hearing people talk about like, man, he was just hugging the whole time, just hugging. That's all Floyd does. Like, that's all Floyd would do.
Yeah,
is hug too. But like when Logan's doing, like Logan is doing what Floyd would do against Floyd, and Floyd can't get him off. He's like real big. So like,
because he's significantly bigger.
Yeah, and he showed that he could use his weight, and he knew how to like handle it. And it was fun to see. So I pull up.
I mean, I know I did see that clip where Floyd did get good connection and almost looked like it was gonna knock him out.
So I saw that when it happened. What I feel like is once he did get a hit, I feel like it was a good hit. People are saying it wasn't as clean of a hit as some of the other hits. Regardless, he then hugs on Floyd, and I think he's like kind of trying to like catch his breath. He's holding him down. He's like getting a certain thing, and at that point, people are speculating that it looks like Floyd was holding Logan up.
Oh yeah, to keep
it going, so it could last the whole 8 rounds.
Mm-hmm.
They're saying that he could have gotten knocked out.
I have heard that, yeah.
But I don't believe that. Even if they got him, I don't truly believe that Floyd held him up. I think that Logan strategically said, "Oh shit," and knew how to hold it.
We're not gonna put our tinfoil hats on for the conspiracy for it.
I don't think so, man. Because like,
I guess the money was already made at that point.
The money's already made. For public perception, if you're Floyd, you want to stop Logan.
Yeah.
You don't want. Why would you want Logan to look better?
Mm-hmm.
And Logan, I mean, Floyd was already like, he was like, look, he was better than I expected. He impressed me, and one thing I will say in the future when I talk about him is he knew how to use his weight to like, to his advantage.
Yeah. When do you think they'll fight Canelo?
I don't think Logan would. I think Jake would be. I can't see Logan fighting Canelo. Well, yeah, no, because I really truly feel like Jake's the better boxer. And right now he's got the Tyron Woodley bout coming up and stuff.
I feel like Canelo he's like in his prime right now,
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna. I think they're wait. There's no need.
They would wait for him to be like,
because I mean, who holds the title? Is it Canelo?
Yeah.
So for you to start trying to go title shot, you'd really like right now they're still fighting UFC fighters, except for like, this is an exhibition on Logan's part, but they're not doing real not doing real sanctioned fights going up the ranks yet. They're doing these money prize fights right now. Jake's the one that really seems like he's going to want to take those types of fights seriously, and he'll probably be like, he's doing the Tyron fight, and then he's going to be like, probably, just knocking off all the things they're like, he can't box. All right, well, I'll show you I can box. Or, well, you can't fight a real fighter. Okay, so I'll do Ben. Well, you can't do a striker, so let's do Tyron. So they're going to hit all those, and they're, well, you can't do a boxer, so he's going to have to do a low-level boxer. So those are going to be the talks until then. He's like, well, you can't go up with the best of the best right now. Then he'll start being like, I'm going to go up with the best of the best right now. I just think that there takes time. I think there's a game plan.
Yeah.
I think there's still people that he needs to get through right now on the prize fight portion before he really starts trying to go out into the...
Yeah.
They have to play this smart because,
for sure.
A fight at the end of the day, like, they're entertainers.
I guess if he did try to hit Canelo, like, straight out the gate and then just gets his ass whooped.
Exactly. Then it's a wrap for the whole... No one cares anymore.
Yeah.
So you're only as good as your previous fight. There's always a recency bias with fighting, which is why people aren't even caring as much about the Tyron Woodley fight, because he's lost the last 4 of his fights. So it's kind of like, people are I'm already hearing the rumbles of like, who gives a fuck, like, about if you beat him or not. He's lost the last 4 fights. But there's the interesting stuff about like the automatic rematch clause in there, meaning like there seems to be some fear on Jake's end. But and I keep on hearing one person scared, and I don't get real confirmation about who's scared. But supposedly one person's scared,
Yeah.
And that's like they have to do this right, because if not, like right now, I really feel like McGregor's stock's going down, and this Poirier fight's like one of his last chances to keep his like relevancy on that.
Dude, I think at his point, like, you've made all the money, bro. Just stay on your whiskey stuff, bro.
I'm saying
like, he should have been fine with just staying on top. He really screwed himself after that Khabib fight.
Do you think it's like a? Sometimes I wonder.
He went full douchebag for that. You know, he did the whole thing with the bus. Like, he did all that. He like talked so much crap, and then he looked really goofy when he lost.
Yeah. But the thing about it is, like, does he still want to do it, though? Because you obviously can tell he doesn't have to. And if he's still doing it, is it because he feels like he has something to prove?
Yeah, maybe.
You know?
Maybe it's
so,
like the
does
redemption.
he still have a
is
hunger?
He like on the redemption path?
Maybe. Does he want to get the redemption, leave out on top? If you leave right now, it's kind of like, yeah, he dipped out in a bad spot.
Yeah.
You know, maybe if he redeems himself, gets himself to a point where people like him again and want to see him fight again, and then he says, I'm out.
Yeah. Because, I mean, like, I think about, like, Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan left after his three-peat, came back, got another three-peat, left, came back, and was just kind of like, meh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then it's at that point, it's like you should have left right at that top.
Yeah.
And then it's, I mean, regardless, it's still, you know, legacy and everything. But it, like, for me, I always think a band, like, it's, you know, it sucks. But when a band dies at their peak, it's the best because you don't have to see their downfall.
John Lennon.
Nirvana.
Yeah.
The fact, like, you know what I mean? I don't have to hear a bad Nirvana album. I don't have to hear them be like, damn, dog, it's not the same. You don't have to deal with that. Sure, you get I get to enjoy them, but you don't have to deal with you get to hear
There's
them.
no Jay-Z feature.
Exactly. It's kind of like Linkin Park. They dipped and they had the Jay-Z feature. They came back up, and people were like, okay. And then, unfortunately, the way that it happened, but now it's like, damn. I'm just glad that we didn't really have to start hearing some really, really, really subpar Linkin Park records, dog.
Yeah.
Like, it could have started getting weird.
Yeah.
Like, Metallica, they're rocky, and, you know, they go up and down. There's been a few albums where I'm like, y'all need to stop being a band. Like, there's been legit projects where I'm like, why are you guys still a band? And then they'll do something where I'm like, okay, y'all still kind of have it, but...
Bro, I think Metallica should just, like, focus on streetwear and dip. Just make T-shirts for streetwear and just...
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just
That's all it is now. That's why people wear their shit.
Yeah. It's just ridiculous, man, because, like, it's a lot of these things with the entertainment, it is a young person's game of a lot of this type of stuff. And you can be a veteran in it, but it just doesn't look as cool.
That's also why I like that, like, Rihanna stopped making music.
But she's still supposed to be putting out an album.
But I bet you she's not going to be on, like, some, like, young girl shit.
I don't know, man. When she does, like, when she did Auntie and stuff like that.
Not to say she's old.
No, I don't think so. But I think
like,
she has to. I'm really curious about, like.
I just want to see, like, if she does come out with an album, I want to see some, like, 444 type stuff. Where Jay-Z's like, hey, man, I'm not young. This album is for, like, old people. Not old people,
possibly, but
this
with the girls, I never see girls do that. Because even Beyonce kind of does it. Nicki doesn't fucking do it at all. Nicki still raps about the same shit she's been rapping about.
Yeah.
Except she brings in the fact she's got a child now.
Yeah.
But, like, she doesn't. I've been waiting for 444 Nicki and haven't gotten that at all.
I don't think we're ever going to get it.
I want us to get 444 Nicki.
Yeah.
But with Rihanna, she's still the type of person
where we could get it probably.
But here's the thing also is, like, I notice, and not to say, like, I mean, she's a pop artist.
Yeah.
Meaning, like, they have, like, the Beyonce treatment where, like, they have a bunch of writers, a bunch of people come in, a bunch of people help them work on it, and then it's pretty much their aura and presence on there. Right now, and this was what she was going out before, I think she's going to be more cocky. She's going to be on bad bitch energy. She's going to be on, like, raining Fenty beauty, Fenty skin, and Fenty wear, all this kind of shit on that boss bitch energy. Meaning, like, when they write all these songs for her and, like, all these things get structured and she puts her input, her energy will be super bad bitch energy. And then I'm curious to see, because like she had a thing with Travis Scott back then, and I heard Travis Scott inspired production in like the songs.
Mm-hmm.
And with the ASAP Rocky stuff right now, I'm wondering how much influence he might bring into the fold of whatever might be going on. Maybe that type of production, maybe that type of jiggy energy, you know what I'm saying? So I'm curious to see it on that, because the way that I think that she works is she's not like a rapper. That's the thing about like when you hear Jay-Z do a 444, rappers are rapping about their experience.
Yeah.
And then if they're at this moment, he's like, yo, my experience isn't that shit anymore. It is this. It's 444, right?
Yeah.
Rihanna is just making really good songs and bringing energy and just like where she's at. So I think she's just going to be making really, really, really good songs with that energy, but she's not going to be rapping about like, she's not rap. You know what I mean?
No,
but,
like, yeah.
But think about her songs. Like none of her songs are talking about what she's doing.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So she's not really going to, I don't think she's really going to be kicking game as much as like, that's, I think once you like, Nas has been doing it. They're talking about like they're doing crypto raps and shit now, dog. Rapping about like they're giving out game, but like Rihanna gives out energy. So she's been given like that. I don't give a fuck about these dudes in her videos. Like she's shooting dudes and stuff like that, like assassinating men. It was that energy. It was like the I'm the number one. I think that was kind of like a men want to beat me. I'm gonna show you. Women got the power type of thing. And maybe with this type of relationship and her business, it might just put her in her I'm in my boss bitch moves bag.
I'm in my bag.
You know? Yeah. So when it does come out, if it does ever come out, I'm curious to see. But I also think that the way her stuff works is like, I'm doing this once this comes in, and once this album is perfect, then it goes out.
Yeah.
I'm not rushing anything out. There's no need.
Yeah.
Almost like the Frank Ocean approach.
Okay. I like that.
But we'll see. I want to see a record.
Because it is sad when they age out. And even, I don't want to say A$AP Rocky aged out, but he just...
I think he... what it seemed like to me...
It's hard to pioneer because... And I've only seen Kanye do it right, where he had Yeezus where like nobody messed with it. And then everybody looked back and it's like, oh yeah, like that was hard.
Yeah, but like the thing with it is like there's the pioneering on the sound part. Then he started getting a little on his other wave and it wasn't as commercially viable.
Yeah.
And my thing is I think he really cared a little more about fashion. Mm-hmm. And once he was able to get his fashion shit like in order, he was kind of like, I'm focusing on that.
Yeah.
Because like he'll dip off to London and he's like, oh, I get to be the creative director for this. Like it's the interesting case with rappers where if you don't see them, you think that they're washed or fell off.
Yeah.
But they're usually just doing a bunch of other shit.
But what did fall off was the mob, which we have talked about that.
The mob has fallen off, and that's unfortunate. But all those things happen, like, I mean, Golf and that whole crew, like, Odd Future fell off. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard.
But it was cool because it gave us,
What happens is, yeah, it did. But that's the thing is, a lot of times those things are like, look, you're a collective, you meet us, but then people be like, I want to do this. Mm-hmm. I want to do this. It's hard to get the whole crew. Like, the one I respect for being able to do that are bands. Like, bands to be able to, like, look, we are a band, and, like the Migos. For us to be like, look, we are the Migos, and we have to move like this. They tried to move.
It didn't work.
It didn't work.
When they all made their solo albums.
Exactly.
They were all trash.
And so they had to come back and
Even
be like, look, we need to move.
He was supposed to be like the best lyricist.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, this isn't cool.
Exactly. So it's like they realize we have to move as a unit. We have to be able to like be on the same page, be on this in order for it to work.
Yeah. Because then I feel like when they split, then you just had 3 albums of halfway made Migos songs.
Exactly. They just weren't all the way. You're like, it's not all of it yet.
Yeah.
And now I really think, like, they did an LA Leakers freestyle. The way that they connect is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
So, like, their chemistry with it is on point. And when you have that, it's like they're able to bounce off of each other. You know what I mean? And it's just like, it's kind of like if one person doesn't got it, like the other person's got it. So,
yeah,
you know, you don't always have to be on par, but if you are all in your bag at the same time, it's unstoppable.
No, for sure. For sure.
So, yeah, I think we got enough today, though. It's so funny that we did not really even touch the topics that we kind of had.
No, we didn't.
But I think we got a lot of things off of our chest this week, dog.
Yeah. I wanted to touch on the Bitcoin thing.
I want to wait until we get a little more
more info on that. Okay.
Because I haven't done too much research. Not only that, like I want to see what the fuck's else going on.
It's your wife's motherland.
I know. Plus, I gotta ask her. I gotta ask if the family invested.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta see if the family got money in it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm about to find out how much Bitcoin we got as a collective, dog.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We should just put it all into one Bitcoin pot, just kind of like, like a family Bitcoin.
Yeah. Yo, did you hear that the FBI was able to crack Bitcoin or something like that?
Yep. So we're seeing where this is all gonna go. Everyone who bought at the peak is a wrap. Like they bought.
Oh yeah, it's a wrap for you. If you realize your loss, it's a wrap for you. If you write it out, maybe you can make some of that money back.
Yeah. Yep. I still think that this is necessary to shake off the fake people.
Okay. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because us true believers in the crypto.
Mm-hmm.
We know that this just means as a clearance sale, dog.
You can see it like
we
that?
Just buying the dip.
Yeah, no, you can see it like that.
So we're gonna talk about that once we get a little more info. But thanks for listening. Make sure that you hitting that subscribe button. Making sure that you hitting all the follows on any social medias. Watch us on YouTube as well as listening to the podcast here.
Yeah,
and let people know. Let people know that we out here.
We're handsome.
And that they need to be tuning in too.
We're not available by any means, but we got cool fits on.
Real talk.
If you like that kind of stuff, I don't know.
So, bring your drip next week and be checking us out and let people know that we out here. And we'll see you then. Out.